Thanks, Manuel, for inviting me. And hello to all. So happy to be here again this year. Well, the idea of this presentation is to talk a little bit about the PhD experience and how life looks like after PhD. So some of you may know me. My name is Fateme Baneshi, and I recently finished my PhD last year in 2025. And since like 1 month, I started working at AI Method Company as CTO. To start with the PhD journey and the life after, I would like to start a little bit with my background. So I did my bachelor and master in control engineering back in 2014 and 2019 in Persian Gulf University. It is a university in the south of Iran. And then in 2021, I started doing the PhD here at UC3M. Right after the PhD, I started the postdoc for a few months, and then I moved to the AI Method Company to work with them. Well, why did I choose to do a PhD here? First, I talked to Manuel. At that time, there was this topic to do like network scale flight planning, considering both climate impact and the safety of the traffic. So the topic was quite appealing for me at that time. And I liked the group, the environment. So, and also it has a connection with my background on control. And at that time, I was thinking that maybe I can bring new ideas from control to aerospace. So it would be some new frameworks in this topic. And I said, why not? Let's start. And I started doing a PhD here 4 years ago, maybe 5. Well, as you know, definitely doing a PhD is not an easy thing to do. Well, there are moments of like you are desperate, you are annoyed, and there are challenging moments. But it's not all, it's only a part of it. But there are also great moments that you can learn and also enjoy, which luckily during my PhD, those moments were a lot. One of the experience, which to be honest, I didn't like at the beginning, but then when I wanted to present my PhD thesis, like on my defense date, I realized that they were super helpful because like as you practice every year, in the end, we can see the improvement in the like on the preparing the presentation and also presenting it. And like one of the amazing thing which I liked the most was, well, it's not working properly. Doing conferences, going to like different cities, country, and presenting the work that you are doing. Well, after the conferences, at least in my case, I was so motivated because like the topic get interest and then people start connecting to you, like interacting, you present the thing that you have and you are working on. And sometimes it end up at a collaboration or something. But it is always nice to interact with the people and getting new ideas, also talking to them, getting even feedbacks, constructive feedback to improve during these years. Well, as you can see in the beginning, like the first years, it was easier to go to the conferences, but then the last years, you're more occupied with the PhD stuff. So if I want to give a suggestion, I would say if you are first or second year or even third, go to the conferences because maybe in the end it would be more difficult. Well, also, another thing that I think it was quite helpful for me, I started like exploring new approaches to solve my problem, which at that time, like it's 3 years ago, I was thinking on the doing reinforcement learning stuff to solve this complex problem. So at that time, I found a summer school. It was in Barcelona, doing like exploring reinforcement learning to a variety of applications. Like there were many people, as you can see, each of them wanted to use reinforcement learning for a specific application. So it was quite helpful, and also I was so motivated because imagine that like in any application it can be used, so definitely it could be also used in our application, and it was looking promising at that time. After the summer school and after developing the ideas, I went to the research stay. It was a nice group on EPFL. They were mainly using like reinforcement learning stuff to do automation, like automatic driving or robotic thing, which it was quite helpful for me because they were all expert, like I could get feedback every day. So to me, it was one of the critical time, which I learned a lot from that group, and also I enjoyed a lot living in another city and having new like environment of working and new collaboration. So like here, I brought this to say, like, to if I want to give an advice, I would say that if you're looking for a research stay, try to select a group or like a university that can really help and give you something that you don't have here. Like it should be something new. And after that, like after the research stay, well, it was almost on the last year of my PhD, so I started writing the thesis, and it was truly helpful for me doing a research stay. Well, one of the another good thing about my PhD, as I said, I had a bunch, was doing the project. Well, I did my PhD like in the framework of REFMA project, which was a European project, and many universities over Europe were involved in the project. And like it was so interesting for me. Like it was the first time collaborating with different universities and like kind of learning how to work as a whole team or project, even though we don't understand one part, but we still need to collaborate. So I also thought that maybe nice mentioning that the project, well, definitely for a PhD student, it is more workload, more work, deliverables, or like meetings, but in the end, it would definitely help. Well, and finally, I defended last year in 2025, which was amazing moment. And like, as you can imagine, always after a PhD, you don't know what to do. Well, there is mainly going to industry or academia. There is always like one path in between that you do both of them. To be honest, for me, it was so difficult. I didn't know what exactly to select because exactly after the PhD, I started doing a postdoc. In the end, it was the group that I liked. I knew the framework of the framework of the group and the ways of working. So it was a kind of comfort zone to stay at the university. But I always use this figure in my technical presentations. It is like the framework of reinforcement learning, which this agent, which knows nothing, start interacting with the environment, sometimes takes right decisions, sometimes wrong, and in the end, it learns. So I thought maybe the life is not like really far from this idea. We have to explore. If I stay somewhere forever, maybe I don't know if I like other paths or other type of work. So I decided to explore and use the idea that I was kind of dealing with for 4 years. Well, then I started working at this AI method company, which is an spin-off of the university. These are the people who are working at the company. I mean, I'm not that much experienced. I just joined the group like 1 month or maybe 2 months ago. But I like the environment, and they are mainly, to give an overall view, they are mainly trying to predict the hazards related to aviation application to be used by a stakeholder. For instance, predicting the convective weather or turbulence, and then use in the aviation application to prevent like safety issues or prevent delays and this kind of thing. Well, the good news is that I joined this company like in the framework of a funding. It was a public funding to hire a PhD. So it's maybe a good news for PhD students that people are getting like more and more interested in hiring PhD, and they are like more valuing the expertise or skills that we can obtain during the PhD. I heard a lot during my PhD that sometimes when you have PhD, you may be overqualified, but it's nice to see that it's not like the way that it was working before, and we can start working, and the people are getting more and more interested in hiring PhD. And why did I choose like to go there? Well, as I said, I was doing postdoc for a couple of months, and then I got contacted by Aniel, which was a colleague at university before, and I was like thinking a lot to choose what. But then, I thought maybe there are some criteria which we need to think about it. First, definitely the work was interesting for me. It is in the end like AI applied to aviation. Not exactly the type of thing that I was doing, but there is a field that I can also bring my expertise and try to introduce new paths and directions in the company. Well, definitely we learn many things when we are doing PhD, but there are always other skills that we don't know. And I was thinking that maybe we can obtain some of these skills or develop these skills outside the university. And well, it was, as I said, kind of not exactly aligned, but it was somehow related to my PhD background. And most importantly, there was a connection between the startup and university. So it is not that you are working completely somewhere else. You still have shared project. You still can collaborate with the universities. We never know. Maybe you don't like working somewhere, so there should be some connections or some ways of working for future, because we never know which decisions is the best. Well, and definitely it's a startup, so you can't guarantee the stability of the work, but it's still maybe in smaller startups you can have more important roles with more responsibilities, which maybe it's more difficult to have in big companies. So I was thinking that maybe I'm not really old yet, so I can explore new things. Even if it doesn't work, doesn't matter. So you can always try new things and learn from there. Well, and I was also thinking that maybe I can bring some of the experience during this very short time there, that what are the skills that I think as having a role as so in a company, you need them. First is time and priority management, which I think this is one of the things that we always trying to develop during the PhD. It's like we are dealing with for 4 years. So it really helps afterward. And then like it should be like another skill is critical thinking and creative problem solving, which as a PhD you all know that it is the way that PhD train you to be able to solve the problems in a creative way, in new way that no one before did it. Well, also it's like maybe I can bring on. Also, you need to at that level we need to think about writing proposals, writing reports, which like these are some skills that we definitely can improve in the PhD by collaborating in proposal writing, deliverables, or even the thesis. Well then, collaboration is very important to be able to collaborate with different teams and different like companies or universities. And well, participating in a project, doing the PhD in the framework of project can really be valuable to develop this skill. And finally, like how to convince people. We do it for 4 years, answering reviewers, like on the papers and also the reviews on the thesis. So in the end, I think it's really nice experience and nice expertise that we can communicate and giving reasons why we are doing something and like try to convince them. Well, also definitely in any job, we need to be open to feedbacks, especially if they are constructive feedback. And we need to apply them if they are useful and take advantage of this feedback. Well, these are the skills that I found highly valuable for working at a company with more responsibilities, which I think like PhD student can think better on developing or training themselves. Well, this was all from my side. Thank you all for listening, and thank you again for inviting me.